Have you ever looked at a toothbrush attached to a long-handled spoon and thought to yourself, is this normal? Yeah, that checks out. Have you ever noticed that the things you do without thinking anymore would probably look a little concerning to anyone watching from the outside? At some point, these habits stop becoming about the activity and just start becoming who you are. And once that happens, there's really no going back. You know, backpackers are some of the most meticulous people on earth, not because we want control, but because self-sufficiency demands it. It demands attention. On trail, every choice matters, every system has a purpose, and every shortcut eventually costs you. And then something strange happens. Those habits do not turn off when the trail ends. They follow you home. You start thinking in layers, you plan further ahead, you solve problems before they exist. You value function over comfort, and then one day you realize you're not just walking through the woods anymore. You might be suffering from backpacking syndrome, or BS. How do you know if you have BS? Well, there's some symptoms that you can learn to identify. All right, let's see here. Do you know what our value is without even thinking about it? What's your opinion on stuffed sacks? If you talk to yourself on trail, full-fledged conversation back and forth. Do you know what shoulder season means and why some gear is only rated for 3 of them? Yeah, you already know where this is going. All right, let me ask you this. Do you have a ridiculous trail name that you did not choose, that you did not consent to, but somehow it fits you perfectly like some sort of Marvel superhero? Do you know what a vestibule is? And do you know what it's for? You know, if you ever sniff your shirt and think to yourself, one more day is possible. Okay, do you ever drink a ton of water, even if you're not thirsty, just because you're cameling up, because you're unsure of where your next water source may be? And when you lay out your gear, do you arrange it obsessively so nothing touches? Had you ever used a bidet in real life before the little mini backpacking ones? No? Yeah. You might be a backpacker if taking your shoes off at the end of the day feels ceremonial. And nobody interrupt me while I'm doing it. Nobody interrupt me while I'm taking off my shoes. You're a backpacker. If you lay in your tent on your mattress at night and you just listen to every little snap, crackle, and pop in the woods and you decide which one is a squirrel and which one is a bloodthirsty bear with a knack for some human flesh. You ever stand back and admire and just stare at your setup like you just built some sort of little tiny home? If you take random household items to weigh on your little food scale, then you're infected. You might have BS. I know, I'm full of BS. And if you encounter backpackers on trail and you immediately judge them by the gear that they're carrying, does that one resonate with you? And if you choose discomfort and call it fun, is leave no trace your mantra? But do you pick up other people's trash when you come across it on trail? Oh, I got one. Is rain gear non-negotiable for you to go out into the woods? Yeah, you might have BS. BS. You ever drive around and see some random terrain and think to yourself, I could definitely hike this? You already know you've got the bug. If your wedding registry lives on garagegrowngear.com or your Christmas gift list is from REI only, You know, if you walk into REI and you know the REI employees on a first name basis, or if you walk in there and head to the customer service desk and they already know what you're returning before you even open your mouth. Yep. Sorry, buddy. If you repackage dehydrated meals into Ziploc bags the moment you get back home, yeah. You know, at this point, if you're nodding along like, yeah, that's might be, or if you know somebody that fits the bill, go ahead and hit that like button and then share this video with that person. You know, the one that fits the bill but would never admit to it. Give them a little reality check. Might have BS. Do you sleep with your water filter inside of your quilt or sleeping bag when the temperature dips below freezing? Do you carry a dedicated extra pair of socks in your pack just for sleeping that never touch the dirt? Have you ever cut off excess straps off of a pack just to save half an ounce? I know you did. Did you weigh the excess straps, the cut off pieces, to justify your actions? You know, if half an ounce seems absolutely worth it. How about your toothbrush? You ever cut your toothbrush in half? Or have you ever drilled holes into your spoon handle just to make it lighter? Yeah. Do you hike wearing blaze orange during hunting season? If you read nutritional labels and immediately calculate calories per ounce, and if you look at food packaging and think this is not calorically dense enough for trail, and if you judge food by weight to calorie ratio instead of taste, and if you're in the supermarket and you're redesigning meals in the grocery aisle doing math in your head, yeah, you're deep in it, my friend. Sorry. BS. Advanced BS. You got stage 10 BS. Do you know what vitamin I is? Of course you do. You know exactly how many you need to take in the morning when you're not feeling tip-top. And you know to keep them handy packed in different places in your pack so in that way you could offer it as a peace offering to another hiker if you come across, or even as currency. Vitamin I. You know. Don't play dumb, bro. If you preach cotton kills, and you preach it because you learned that the hard way, but did you die? No? If you look at an item and think to yourself, what else can this do? You ever remove items from your kit simply because it only does one job? Guilty. If you think in systems instead of individual items, that mindset does not turn off. You ever driven past a construction site and thought to yourself, I wonder if they can spare a piece of Tyvek? You know who you are. If you're familiar with fabrics like Dyneema or DCF, Alula, Acta, Alpha, Merino wool, fleece, and you don't have to Google any of it, if you know the importance of drinking electrolytes and not just water, and if you refer to coffee as the nectar of the gods, even if it's instant, you know, if you casually use words like Nero, Zero Day, or Blaze, or Switchback, and if trail magic and trail angels are something godly to you, and if Tramily is a real thing and it's for life, and if Nobo and Sobo instantly tell you in which direction somebody's headed, you might be a backpacker. You might have BS. These are the tall tale signs of BS. And if you know that DWR is something that's temporary, but it can be reapplied at home, and if cowboy camping feels like freedom, not a risk, and if your biggest fear at camp is widowmakers, not the weather or wildlife, if you know what a hotspot forming feels like in real life and your saving grace is leukotape, I think you have BS. Well, allegedly, you might have BS. How many items from this list have you checked off? It's not looking good. If type 2 fun makes perfect sense and you don't feel the need to justify it, if you know what a wag bag is, or a trowel, or micro spikes, or if you understand the difference between single wall and double wall tent and you have strong opinions about condensations because of it, if you know when a bear bag is enough, when a bear canister is required, or when a bear box is your only option because a bear hang is no longer safe at the camp that you're staying at, If bear spray is something that you carry deliberately and not nervously, yeah, you might be a backpacker. Those are all symptoms of BS, and if you're nodding your head, you're... What time is hiker midnight? Huh? Do you watch hiker TV before going to bed? If your trekking poles are both tent poles and human 4x4, and if they are stability, propulsion, shelter, and even emotional support on the downhill, if you feel immediately off balance without them, yeah, you might be a backpacker. And when you get to camp, are you meticulous with your gear, or do you just yard sale everything out of your pack? Do you know the difference between a hard shell and a soft shell? And do you have opinions on both? So if you ever stood there with a toothbrush attached to your long handle spoon and thought to yourself, yeah, this makes sense, then you already know. You might be a backpacker. If you answered yes to any of the symptoms mentioned here, luckily there's help available for you in the comments section. Drop comments. Do you spend hours on end watching backpacking content on YouTube? If you're watching right now, then you are a backpacker. And if you really are a backpacker, then watch this one next. And stay feral. Backpacker syndrome.